Hello everyone, welcome to LBS IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss history MCQs based on previous year UPSC questions. So let's start our session. Our first question is, from the 3rd century AD, when the Hun invasion entered the Roman Empire, the Indian merchants relied more and more on options are African trade, West European trade, Southeast Asian trade and Middle Eastern trade. Here answer to this question is option C, Southeast Asian trade. After the 3rd century AD, Roman Empire came to an end. This led to the decline of trade between India and Rome. Indian merchants meanwhile had begun to rely more heavily on Southeast Asian trade. With the decline of Roman Empire, China had become main focus of trade in Indian Ocean. The main seaport for foreign trade in China during this period was Canton or Kanfu, as the Arab travelers called it. So her answer to this question is option C, Southeast Asian trade. Which one of the Chola kings conquered Ceylon? Options are Aditya I, Rajendra, Rajaraja I and Vijayalaya. The answer to this question is option B, Rajendra. It was under Rajaraja I and his son Rajendra I that Chola power reached its highest point of glory. The invasion of Sri Lanka, which was entrusted to his son Rajendra I, as the Sri Lankan king Mahendra V fled from his country. The Cholas annexed northern Sri Lanka. Rajendra I conducted the most striking military exploit after his accession in 1023 by his expedition to northern India. He annexed total Ceylon, that is Sri Lanka. During his reign, the whole of Sri Lanka was made part of the Chola Empire. So, her answer to this question is option B, Rajendra. Which of the following pairs is correctly matched? Option A, Divanai Bandhagan, Tughlaq. That is correct. Option B, Divanai Mastakraj, Balban. That is incorrect. Option C, Divanai Kohe, Alauddin Khilji. That is incorrect. Option D, Divanai As, Muhammad Tughlaq. That is also incorrect. So, her answer to this question is option A, Divanai Bandhagan, Tughlaq. Divanai Bandhagan, that is Department of Slave, was constituted by Firoz Tughlaq. Divanai Mastakraj was Department of Arrears, introduced by Alauddin Khilji. This was the Department of Revenue. Divanai Kohi, a separate department for agriculture, was established by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Divanai As, Department of Military, responsible for maintaining the royal army and recruiting troops. This department was introduced by Balban. Sultan himself acted as the commander-in-chief of the army. So her answer to this question is option A, Divanai Bandhagan, Tughlaq. Consider the following statements. Ahadis were those troopers who offered their services single, who did not attach themselves to any chief, who had the emperor as their immediate colonel, who attached themselves to mirzas. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this question is option A, 1, 3 and 4 are correct. That is, offered their services single, had the emperor as their immediate colonel, attached themselves to mirzas. The Mughal emperors maintained small standing armies. These emperors' own troops were called Ahadis. Ahadis were the gentlemen troopers. They were directly recruited individually by the Mughal emperor and were under the command of a separate mansabdar or officer and had a divan and a bakshi of their own. They were considered very efficient and loyal troops and were paid high salaries. So her answer to this question is option A, 1, 3 and 4 are correct. What is the correct sequence of following events? Options are Tilak's Home Rule League, Komugadamaru Incident, Mahatma Gandhi's arrival in India. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option D, 231. That is Komugadamaru Incident 1914, Mahatma Gandhi's arrival in India 1915, Tilak's Home Rule League in 1916. In 1914, a Japanese steamship Komugadamaru voyaged from Hong Kong to Vancouver carrying 376 passengers from Punjab. Out of all passengers, 24 were admitted to Canada, but the other 352 passengers were not allowed inside Canada and the ship was forcefully returned to India. This incident hurt Indians. While the ship returned to Calcutta, the passengers were asked to take Punjab-bound train, which they refused, and in that conflict, 22 people died. Emotions ignited after this incident was taken advantage by the Indian revolutionaries. On 9th January 1915, M.K. Gandhi reached Bombay, sailing from South Africa, having lived there for more than 2 decades. This date was chosen in 2003 to be observed as Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, that is Non-Resident Indian Day. There were 2 Home Rule Leagues launched. Tilak launched the Indian Home Rule League in 1916 April. At Belgaum, Annie Besant launched Home Rule League in September 1916 at Madras. They had a common objective of achieving self-government in India. So here answer to this question is option D, 231. What is the correct chronological sequence of the following? Options are Wood's Education Dispatch, Macaulay's Minutes on Education, the Surgeon Education Report, the Indian Education or Hunter Commission. Here answer to this question is option A, 2143. That is Macaulay's Minutes on Education in 1835, Wood's Education Dispatch in 1854, Indian Education or Hunter Commission in 1882 and 1920, the Surgeon Education Report in 1944. So here answer to this question is option A, 2143. On 2nd February 1835, British historian and politician Thomas Babington Macaulay presented his Minutes on Indian Education that sought to establish the need to impart English education to Indian natives. In 1854, Charles Wood sent a dispatch to Lord Dalhousie, the then Governor General of India. He suggested that primary schools must adopt vernacular languages. Through the dispatch, he also suggested that high schools use Anglo-vernacular medium and that English should be the medium for college-level education. Hence, Wood's dispatch is considered as Magna Carta of English education in India. Hunter Commission was appointed in 1882 to examine the implementation of the dispatch of 1854, which tried to streamline school education into two streams of high school, one leading to the university education and the other to the commercial, vocational and technical education. This was the first attempt to diversify school curriculum and introduce vocational education. Central Advisory Board of Education prepared a comprehensive report on educational development after the World War, known as the Surgeon Report in 1944. So here answer to this question is option A, 2143. When the Indian Muslims League was inducted into interim government in 1946, Likhayat Ali Khan was assigned the portfolio of options are Foreign Affairs, Home, Finance and Defence. Here answer to this question is option C, Finance. On 2nd September 1946, the interim government of India was formed. The second highest ranking League politician Likhayat Ali Khan was the head of Department of Finance. Interim government lasted till 15th August 1947 when India became independent and was partitioned into India and Pakistan. The formation of the interim government is related to the Second World War. The period post the Second World War was a turning point as all the political prisoners were released who were part of Quit India movement. The Indian National Congress laid the foundation by declaring its participation in the formation of Constituent Assembly. The newly formed government of Clement Attlee dispatched 1946 cabinet mission to India to formulate proposals for the formation of a government that would lead to an independent India. So here answer to this question is option C, Finance. The educated middle class in India, option A opposed the revolt of 1857, option B supported the revolt of 1857, option C remained neutral to the revolt of 1857, option D fought against native rulers. Here answer to this question is option C, remained neutral to the revolt of 1857. The revolt did not spread to all parts of the country, nor it was supported by all groups and sections of the Indian society. South and West India remained largely outside the fold of revolt. Many Indian rulers refused to help the rebels and some were openly hostile to the rebels and helped the British in suppressing the revolt. The middle class and upper classes and modern educated Indians also did not support the revolt. So here answer to this question is option C. M.C. Setalvad, B.N. Rao and Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer were distinguished members of options are Swaraj Party, All India National Liberal Federation, Madras Labour Union, Servants of India Society. Here answer to this question is option D, Servants of India Society. The Servants of India Society was formed in Pune, Maharashtra on June 12, 1905 by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who left the Deccan Education Society to form this association. The objective of the Servants of India Society was to prepare propagandists for service of India and to promote true interest of Indian people in constitutional ways. This society had given birth to many social servants such as V. Srinivasa Shastri, N.M. Joshi, etc. M.C. Setalvad, B.N. Rao and Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer were some of the main distinguished members of this society. So here answer to this question is option D.